Hello YouTube, Blooder81 here, and today I'm going to show you another retro computer. This time it's an AMD based computer. Right in front of me you have the external case of an Compaq Presario 7954. This is a very huge case, really. A lot of metal and plastic on the front. Down there you have the Windows 98 sticker. Here is a paper transparent port for the USBs and 5 wires, depending on the model. Here in the middle, the power button. On the right, the power LED. And on the left, HD LED. Right here is the floppy drive bay. And right here is the front of the case with exposed optical drive. This one is in very good shape. I did bought this years ago, and I made some changes and stuff. But most important is that you push here to open. Oops, sorry. You see the clips are still intact, and here you can see 4 more 5 1/4 optical drives, in total of 3. And down here you can put up to 2 floppy drives, zip drives, whatever you wanted. Let's close it. It's a very big case. The computer slides in and out by removing a few screws. And here there are some guide rails. It has a very good airflow. And now it's time for the internal part. That is right here. Here's the computer on the left side. As you can see on the back, power. It has a handle to push in or out this part of the case, the chassis. You have 2 USBs, one PS2 keyboard and mouse, serial, parallel, and Fire 400. Below is the DVI, TV out VGA, and downstairs the joystick and the audio in and out. So take a look at the front. Here it's not original, it's a LG cdrw 52X floppy drive that it's disconnected because it doesn't work. Right here we have the power LED, hard drive LED, and the switch to power on. It's a little rusty because I have in my balcony, and even though it's sealed, it still has a lot of humidity and it rusted. Right here we have the front panel USB and the Fire 400. Now it's time to show the belly of the beast, which is an AMD Athlon K7 processor, slot A based. This is the first based AMD from Compaq. So when it was in stock, it had an Athlon K7 650 Pluto core. The Pluto core was basically the successor of the Argon core, which uses 0.18 nanometers instead of 0.225, and it almost predates the Thunderbird core. Right now it has an Athlon 750, and this one is the Thunderbird core with 256 kilobytes of on-die cache. So a very fast system with no cache speed problems that some AMDs have. They didn't have less than a half or a quarter of speed, depending on the speed that you get. And right here is the board. This one is a Compaq Aspen 2. I don't know if you probably can see it. It's basically a DFI SD11, but with a much better power delivery, as you can see. But only 2 RAM slots that are occupied. It has a total of 512 megabytes. The first slot is unoccupied. In there is an infamous AMD 751 Iron Gate chipset. And from what I read, with because of the rush, they have to use a third-party soft bridge because they didn't have anything ready yet. So they use an Avaya, this Avaya chipset. That is the C686A soft bridge. There, those two chips are the 5-wire chips. As you will see the IDs, I have to clean it better because of the humidity. I have to clean the system better. Back to the CPU. As you can see, it has a huge CPU cooler, a fan, a pretty loud one. The power supply, it was a surprise to me. It only has 145 watts, so yeah, need to be very careful. In the 5 volts, you have 25 amps, 12 volts, 8 amps, 5 volt for the USBs, 1 amp, 3.3, you have 14 amps, minus 12, 8 amps, minus 5, 5 amps, 0.5 amps, sorry. AMD, this is many of you rarely see. This is basically the Ryzen CPU of the time for AMD. The K6 did somewhat good, but not enough. But with this CPU, it did bring a lot of new stuff to the industry. It uses basically front of bus, which is basically DDR. It runs at 100, but it's 200 multiplied, 200 megahertz. So it helps a lot in using the system. Back to the motherboard. Unfortunately, the bad news of this is that the original is at the voodoo free 3500 OAM by Compaq. It was basically a voodoo free 3500, but without a TV tuner. The part that was unoccupied, so it was cheaper to produce. But after a while, unfortunately, I sold it because most of the games that I will play, Unreal, the first Unreal, Wheel of Time, unfortunately, I updated and break the game. I couldn't use save games and have to start from the beginning, which was boring. So unfortunately, I sold it for a good price, by the way. But I should retain because the 751 Iron Gate has a bug that only works at 1x. The 2x rarely works. You have need a driver or something, but it only works at 1x, which is a bummer. And down here we have a Sunplacer 128. This is the 4.1 version, which has a massive amplifier, as you can see. It sounds very good. Basic sound, but it sounds good. The model of this one is a CT 4700. As you can see, a lot of metal on this case. It's very heavy. And one thing I was surprised to see is on this bay. You might think, what goes in this bay? It's hidden. Well, this bay was due for the quantum fireball hard drive, those big 5 and a quarters ones, which were slow, sometimes unreliable, sometimes they were good, depending on the model. You slap on one here with a long ID cable, but this one comes with it comes with a low gigabyte one, and I replaced with this 20 gigabytes, which is a Seagate 20 gigabytes. Works pretty well. So now it's time to power up. I have to use this screwdriver to reach the power button. There you go. It's a GeForce FX 5200. Unfortunately, I got to try find a better GPU. Now it's powering up. I do have some memory problems. I had to try to find the best pair to work well. Oops, sorry. Okay. Using Windows ME, yeah, I know Windows ME sucks, but it has native USB support and already has the native drivers for the North Bridge. Properties, 512 megabytes. I use a serial mouse. I don't know where is my PS2 one is. Creative Audio PCI, yes, 1370. Sabasa PCI 64128. And UBG Force FX 5200. I'm using the newest driver possible for the Windows ME. Now let's run exdiag and the athlon processor MX 50 now 749 MHz. Running DirectX 8.1. I did try some games. In the beginning some games were working well, but as I advance the game become more push the computer so hard that I get low frame rates. I have to pass to another computer that I'm going to show you then in another video. Now let's open CPU-Z. This is an old one, 1.57. You can see I'm the athlon Thunderbird core, 80 nanometers, a level 2 cache 256. Here are the ratings: 750, multiplier 7.5, font BIOS of 100, rated FSB it's 200 MHz. The cache, unlike the Pentiums that had the Pentium 3 that has 255 bytes, the athlon uses 64, but it has a very large L1 cache, 128. The mainboard Compaq, as you can see, AMD 751. It has the latest driver, BIOS, sorry. As you can see, the GPU is only 1x. Even with the NVIDIA control panel, I cannot enable it. The RAM 256, 256. Graphics. Let's launch a game that most people don't know or very well. That is Gunman Chronicles. It's a game that runs pretty well on this system. Yeah, I use the keyboard and mouse to play like this. I use the directional. This one for reload. This one for open. This one is for others commands. And I use the mouse. I like this game because it's based on it's basically the space cowboys. Ooh, scorpions. Dang it! Can't do anything. I'm going to die. Boom. But if you guys can see videos of this game, it's very awesome. By the way, it's a very awesome game, and it's very it plays very well. I exit the game. As for the 3D Mark, already run. Let me 3D Mark 999. I did place on a very high settings, 12 24 by 768. Now I can how do I open this? As you can see, 24-bit. I want to push the system as far as I can go. Now why I can't open it? Oops. Oh, here it is. So, in total, I had 3,942. CPU 1200 204. Game race 1. If I had another GPU, it's going to be a lot better, of course. 2 megabytes, 4 megabytes, 8 megabytes. Focus. And there you go. So I'm going to write it down. In the next video I will show a better gameplay with it. And to see if I can find a tripod or something to place the cell phone, the smartphone in place. Thanks, and see you guys in the next video.